Hello everyone, I'm Jerri Heer and I am the Gem Tree instructor at William Holland School of Lapidary Arts. Today we're going to create a gem tree. I specialize in species-specific trees, and the species that we're working on today is a dogwood tree. It involves both rocks and shells and several different parts of the process. We're going to start with making the blossoms. I actually have to make those in advance because they need to dry overnight in order to be firm enough to put on the tree. And what we are using are apple blossom shells. They're fairly small, but they have a nice little pink blush to them. And the dogwood, because we're trying to be anatomically correct, the dogwood has 4 petals. We're going to use welder's glue. It's a permanent, clear drying, flexible bond glue. I just put a little dollop on this baking parchment. I found over the years that baking parchment has the best release. It's my handy pocket knife has a little set of tweezers. We're going to use the tweezers to take one shell at a time and scoop it in. In this particular case, we put them directly opposite each other, almost kind of like a shamrock pattern, which is exactly how a dogwood blossom looks. And then this is a toothpick with silicone earplug material, and I'm going to put a little piece of yellow quartz in the center, and that creates my dogwood blossom. Do a couple more. And there's 3 blossoms. Okay, now we're going to work on the tree itself. This is the primary tool that I use. It's just a cup hook and a dowel. In this case, I'm using 26 gauge. I'm using 26 gauge smoky quartz wire. It's got a copper core with an anodized color over it that closely resembles the bark color of the tree. I take that piece of wire, I fold it in half until I get a loop at the other end, and I'm going to take that cup hook tool, hook it in there, and then I use my finger in here to control the twist. If I do it up really close like that, then the twist is tight. If I spread it out, it goes further down, but I'm trying to keep it tight. So I twist it about 4 or 5 times, and that's one leaf, one loop. I want to make another loop out to the side, about the same length as the first one. And because we are trying to be as anatomically correct as possible, and the dogwood blossoms and leaves are alternating, I'm going to twist a little stem in between. And then I'm going to use the longest leg. I did one at the top and one on the other side. Now I've got a longer leg to do one on the third side. There we go, like that. Twist a little stem out in between. Now the dogwood tree is a fairly airy, light tree. It sways in the wind. I'm using a lighter gauge wire, 26 gauge, so that it has some movement to it. And I want my blossoms to be spread a little bit more. And there's one branch. I'm going to do another one. Same way, using my finger on the first one to control it. From this point, By just pinching there, I can control it. And that's another branch. I twist down a little bit in order to allow me to fold the branches together. So here's the branch I just did. This is the second one. I'm actually going to insert that in there, and I kind of braid these wires together to fold lock it in, which keeps things from shifting apart at all. And I put it in kind of at a 90-degree angle from the previous stem. I'll do one last one here, and that will complete the branches I need for this tree. Same way, using my finger to control that for the very first leaf, and then just creating a loop and pinching to hold it there. Twist a little stem in between. And I'm going to fold that one in. Again, a 90-degree angle from the previous stem. Fold locking it in like that. And that's a cluster that's going to fit on the ultimate tree. Now I've already pre-made a good portion of this, so we're just going to assemble the last of it together. I'm going to fold this cluster we just made into the branch that I had previously made. Fold lock that in. And I'm going to fold that sub-trunk into the tree that I've already started. Make a V, put it in there. Actually try to do it the opposite direction of whatever the previous one was. Fold that down, fold it over. You can see the braid working there. But once you start twisting it all together, you don't see that, but it does. You can see how the trunk graduates in size and builds in there. Then I have to develop a root system. I always do my root systems in thirds. So I kind of roughly take a third out to one side, and another third, and another third. And I'm going to twist that real tightly right up against the trunk. Then I'm going to split it again. And split it again. Keep splitting down until you get to where you're comfortable with what dimension or thickness the root is. Probably split that one more time. And at the very end, when you're done, you're going to twist that out pretty firmly so that these roots are secure. Split that again. I'm using my thumb here to press on it so that I get a good tight twist there. And you don't want to make your roots twist out very far, because in a typical root system is not going to be visible extending beyond the canopy of the tree. So you're only going to want the root system to stick out about that far. Split that into a half again. And then I'm going to use my wire cutters. It's one of the tools that I use to cut off the excess wire. And you can see how that root system is growing. Get rid of that excess. Here's a base that I've got. It's a piece of tourmaline. It's got green tourmaline over black. I always try to make interesting bases when I can. And this is another tool that I use. It's a bent nose pliers, and I can use them to kind of torque this down and shape it to that trunk, the root system down to the rock. And typically what I do is I'll finish all that. I'll glue just these 3 portions, and then once that's solidly glued, then I work on gluing the rest of it down. So, and that's how you end up with the tree. Now I've got one done here that's already done, and I'm going to put some of the leaves on so you can see what that process is. So this is a completed tree. And
start this one. Okay.
Okay.
That was a 10-minute video, so.
Okay.
Here we go.
So I'm going to show you how to put the leaves on and the blossoms. This is a toothpick with silicone earplug material, and I'm going to use glue, and I kind of put the blossoms and the leaves alternating. So I'm going to put glue on every other one. And I've got jade set aside here for the leaf. See, the silicone is tacky like a wax, so it picks up the stone. Then the glue is tacky and pulls the stone off. And then I'm going to take some of these. You can see how easily I can peel those off from the baking parchment. And I'm going to put a little glue there. And put that on. And basically you're going to repeat that throughout the tree. And that's how you end up with a species-specific dogwood tree.